What is up, podheads? Back with another episode of the Podioslave podcast. My name is Tony, joined as always by Anthony and Nate today. But Anthony, how are you?
And my name is Anthony.
And Nate, how are you? And you're muted, Nate.
And
I
my
might
name
keep
is
it.
Nate.
No, there we go.
My name is Nate S.
Yeah. And yeah, we just wrapped a phenomenal conversation with Kevin and Josh of TRUSTcompany, a band that we've wanted on since we started the podcast. So the fact that we were finally able to make that happen, shout out Tori and Adam Splitter, lots of fun to have those guys on.
All-time combo. I don't know how long it's going to clean up to, but I think we went an hour and a half, but it'll clean up a little less than that. But everything you'd want in a conversation and more. And having two members is always the best.
Yeah, let them play off each other. I mean, you clicked on this to listen to them. We'll get to them in just a second, but let those guys tell us a story of, how they came to be and all the crazy stuff that happened to them in the early 2000s and is still here today, and the resurgence, and pressing records and playing shows and maybe writing music. It's so cool.
Yeah, that back and forth between the members, like you get added context. It's like, remember that? Oh yeah, and then they kind of like go back and forth, and we're just here sitting for like what seems like 20 minutes of hearing their tour stories, and we're like, fuck, this is rad, man. Good times with these guys. Like we were talking about at the beginning, like we wanted to talk about this record. I think just us three at one point, but then to have the band on to talk about it is just next level. So good time to get it out here. They just pressed the record on wax recently, and the band is working on stuff. So you'll hear all about it. Let's get into it.
All right, we got Kevin, we got Josh from TRUSTcompany joining us today, guys. How are you? And I know how you are. We talked for 10 minutes, but how you guys doing?
Good, man. Thank you for having us.
It's funny. I would say it's a long time coming, but it's never too late. I mean, we've been chatting, we've been fans for years and years and years. So we are genuinely super excited for this.
It's crazy because it's all kind of come back around here 20 something years later.
Right. Yeah.
So it's been a really cool thing to kind of like get back out and play again and talk to people. It's been cool.
I thought those days were over, They were like, I was like, hang it up, that's a pat. And then we got a call, like, let's play a show. I was like, what? It's been really cool to not only just play, but get to hang out with, I get to see Kevin all the time now. I get to see Jason all the time. I mean, I get to see the band, you're just like brothers. And then now you're like, you stripped away. And then now you're like, oh, get to do this again. Like, wow, like almost 50 years old for me. That's awesome.
One thing, when we picked up the record back in the day is looking at the liner notes and just looking you guys up online and whatnot. It's like, oh, you're from Alabama. Like, that's nuts. Like, we're from Maine. Like, most bands that are on the mainstream scene or whatever, getting the major deals or whatever, likely California, all the major markets, or whatever. But Montgomery, Alabama, we're like, damn, like that just seemed so off the radar. Like, what was it like back then? Like, what was the scene back there?
Actually, the scene in Alabama, we had a really good local scene. Like a
Nice.
really
Wow.
good local scene.
Didn't expect that answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
me and Josh were talking. When we were just talking about this recently, we were like, are young bands still doing it like we used to do it? Like we practiced at this this storage unit place, and there was like 4 storage units, and they were always constantly filled with bands. And there was like a waiting list to get into this place because bands always want to get in here. And there was some really good bands back there at that time. And I would even say that early on in the 90s, I was probably as much influenced by some of the local bands as some of the bigger bands. Okay, we had some really cool bands back then. Another band, I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but a band called Hot Rod Circuit, the singer for that band, his name's Andy Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Love them.
Yeah, me and Andy played in our very first band together back in the day. And so, and they were part of the scene back then. They were called Slip, I think, back then. But yeah, we had a really cool, like, local scene with bands that were all original bands playing, local places. Wouldn't you say, Josh? It was a great time.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't get to see Slip, or I didn't get to see Braswell and all those bands, but y'all brought that influence. And when I saw you, and then you guys introduced me to those bands, I was like, how are these not, like, it was like, if it was discovered, I think like if Slip got discovered and Braswell got discovered and Buttercup and all those bands y'all talk about that y'all let me hear, it would have been it would have been awesome to have like all those bands make it because they're so amazing. So yeah, it just kind of like we flew under the radar until Andy started, but Andy was in like heavier stuff, but then when he did Hot Rod and they blew up, but I guess we might have been the first band out of our, maybe the only band in our area to get signed. But there was a lot of cool bands that we played with.
Great local bands, yeah,
Yeah.
in our area. As far as like nationally, no, we were just kind of in our own little world, and it was, we've talked about it before, how in the world did we actually, get a deal from Alabama? I think, honestly, I
For
think we
sure.
were one of the last bands to get signed, because we got signed to an indie label before Geffen. We were signed to a small label out of DC, and we literally got that deal because the guy that was managing us was mailing out CDs. And I'm like, we might be one of the last bands to get signed from literally mailing CDs to every record label on planet Earth. And, we got our share of like rejection letters, and then we played a couple of showcases. But yeah, it happened because our manager was mailing CDs, and this one little label out of DC was like, hey, I want to come down and watch you guys play. And then so we played for them in Birmingham.
And we happened to play the coolest show that night. Remember that? I was like, I'll never forget when he showed up and we actually played to a lot of people in an awesome venue.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the best he's going to see. It's like, what a lucky opportunity we had that night.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we played for him, and they offered us a deal, and we made a record for them. We went down to Orlando and made a record, and it had Downfall on it, and most of the songs on the record. And we literally quit our jobs and jumped into a van, sold all our stuff. I think you literally, like, didn't you get the van? Like,
yeah,
you traded your Jeep for the van.
Yeah, I had a Jeep that I loved, and I traded in and got this like van. I just saw it on the side of the road and was like, we got to have a van. And it was like, it's still, dude, Josh Carpel still has it, or somebody just sold it to another person. But that van is like been around the scene in Montgomery. It's pretty funny.
It's amazing.
It's like 400,000 miles on it. Like, no joke. It's like 500,000 miles on it. We took it everywhere. But yeah, when we first started sending out CDs, do you remember this? We got a rejection letter we sent it to the label that Chevelle was on, the first label. And we actually got a letter back that was like, you guys are like almost there. We really like you, but not quite, like you enough to come out.
Chevelle already on the label? I don't think we knew them at that point. Or did we?
We didn't know them. No, I didn't really know. I mean, I knew a little bit about them, but I just was, I was researching these bands that kind of sounded like us that we could send our stuff to. And so I remember the letter we got back from that, and I was like, oh man, like we're not quite good enough. But another thing cool that happened was we got invited to, long story short, a friend of ours got to open for Kitty, the band Kitty, right? So we just were like, hey, we want to come help you like load gear and just hang out just so we can like be a part of a big show. And it was in Birmingham. So did you go to that, Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I showed up late. By the time I got there, you guys were already running around backstage crazy.
Oh yeah. So me and Jason went, and I didn't load anything. I just basically met Kitty and hung out with him for like 3 hours. And so I got to talking to the singer, Morgan, I think. And so we were hanging out and we were like, this was 20 something years ago. You won't even remember it. But I remember sitting backstage, and I basically bombarded her with our CD. I was like, can I play you our music? So I remember specifically the Downfall was called Peach Fuzz, right? Wasn't it called Peach Fuzz? I put it in, and she stopped and was like, that's really good. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I said, I reached out to your label, and I was on NRG's or NG Records, Street Team. So I had all these stickers and stuff with Kitty. And I told her, I said, I've been reaching out to the label to send stuff. And she goes, here's the guy you need to send it to. And it was Nick Teeter. So my friend Nick Teeter, I just talked to him the other day about this whole resurgence. But anyway, I sent him our CD, and he was like, I want to come see you. And we played a show in Atlanta, and he came out, and we were a 3-piece. And that's when he said, he saw us, he goes, man, you guys are good, but like you need another guitar player. So that's how we end up getting James in the band.
Yeah, because we were a 3-piece for 3 years or so before.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so it gave us hope that like, okay, the guy from NG Records came out and was like, you guys are pretty all right. And, so you just need another.
But the whole first record was basically written as a 3-piece. But yeah. So yeah, he was like, you guys are really good, but you got Josh on one side of the stage jumping all around. Then you got Kevin they were like, you need to move Kevin in the middle, and you need another guitar player to fill it out. So that began the search for another guitar player because of Nick.
So you were actively trying to make it, right? You weren't just messing around in the garage. You were like, let's get out there, let's play a van show, like find a van, play shows. send CDs to everybody. Let's find another guitarist to make this work. You guys are actively trying to do it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, I can look back and say there was one show that we played. Dude, if you saw the venues we played, y'all would be like, how? Dude, we played a bar called Bernie's, and it was like a plywood building. And it was like they had a small stage, and heavy bands would play, and they'd be like old people in there drinking beer, trying to drink beer around the jamming out. We played a show there a few times, and one night I remember calling up Kevin, was like, that was me and you, right? We went to the show. I called up Kevin. It's like, hey man, let's just go to Bernie's and see who's playing. There's like some bands from Florida. So me and Kevin went out there and we met a band called Payback, who's from Pensacola, Florida. And I just was like, hey, we play the same music. I'll bring you here. You guys bring us there. And it kind of started this like little circuit where we would bring bands from Florida a few times, but they would mainly bring us down there. So we would have a place to play because in Montgomery, it's not a lot of places to play. There were a couple, but not many. So we had to kind of figure it out. But that one night, I can pin it to that one night because that's how we met our manager that got us signed. So that one night of getting out of our comfort zone, going to watch some band we didn't know, connect with them, give them a CD. And I remember like some of the members, they were so fun to be around. But Frankie was like throwing up in the parking lot. And like, I was like, God, we play the same kind of music we could play. And they're like, yeah, whatever, dude. But we end up hooking up with them and we played like so many shows with them. And we end up becoming really tight with some bands in Florida. And that kind of got us a good little start. I don't know what the question was, but
this has happened because me and Josh recently went down the rabbit hole and we started to trace back what was the defining moment that led to us, getting the first deal, which led to the second deal. And it was that show he's talking about. We met this band. And a dude that came out that was our friends of theirs saw us play, and he was just like, "Dude, I want to manage you." And we were like,
"Wow,
but
amazing!"
It started from that show, this one tiny show in Pensacola, Florida, where dude said, "I want to manage you," and he's the one that really got behind us and mailed CDs for us to every single place out there. And he really, really, really worked hard, and that led to the D-side independent recording, and then some major labels heard that recording before it ever came out. We started playing showcases.
It was cool. Jeremy,
Wow.
His name's Jeremy Williams. He manages some other, I think Alien Ant Farm maybe now, but some other bands. But he's really, it was so funny because he's like, I want to manage you. I was like, oh, cool, man. Who do you manage? He's like, nobody.
Oh, wow. So you started in 97 and No Lonely comes out in 02. Did it feel like things are moving quick while all this is happening? Did it feel quick?
Well, the name of the album is Lonely Position of Neutral because we felt like we weren't going anywhere.
Yeah,
there you go.
At the time, it didn't. Looking back at the timeline, it did happen pretty quickly, but at the time, it just.
I'm very impatient.
Yeah,
because we were from Alabama, and like you said, we literally didn't have one single connection anywhere, at all. Nothing. We didn't know a single person in the music industry in California, New York. Nothing. Like I said, we're probably one of those last bands that got signed because of mailing out CDs, because that's literally how it happened for us. Mailing it, signing to an indie label, and then I think their attorney heard it, and he also represented some other people in California. And we were on tour in this van, getting ready for our indie record to come out, and we got a call from our manager, and he said, "Hey, you guys have a showcase in New York playing for Jason Flom of Atlantic," and we were like, really? I thought we were on a label. Like, what's holy. And and it had gotten our demo or our record we had made for D-side had started to make the rounds. And then we played that showcase, and then they flew us to LA, and we started playing showcases out there. And then it happened so fast. It was like a whirlwind.
Well, another thing too, I want to mention too, that I was in a cover band in high school, and we used to play like colleges and stuff. And we practiced next to, we were called 41 Down at the beginning. They were called 40. It was Jason and Kevin and another guy named Andy. And so they practiced like down the little way from us. And Jason, when they all moved in, came over and saw me, and I met them, and I went to hear them. And I was like, I want to do original heavy stuff. Anyway, when I saw them, they had played, like they had written all these songs. They were going to put out an album. And I became such a big fan. Like immediately I was like, oh my God, this is what I want. This is the stuff I want to do. So I was into graphic design. So I did their first graphic design stuff. I did their album design. I did like a website. I remember being like, these guys got to make it. So all the confidence that was basically from them. I just got to join them. So I was like, I want to help you guys get signed. I end up being in the band. But I want to say that because they started, that was their kind of vision for the band. So when I joined as like a youngster, I just wanted to play that kind of music. So it felt like to me, I was like, I had the skill set of like photography and graphic design. I could like help with that. So we each like had our own little job, you know, like Jason was the guy that would call clubs and let's play clubs. He would be the guy that like called. I was the guy doing like websites and electronic flyers and graphic design and photos, and Kevin was writing all these amazing songs. So it was kind of like this. We all had our little part, and all that really helped. There was nobody in the band that was like, man, I don't know, man. I don't think we're all right. We all had our jobs and we all felt very passionate. We worked hard, dude. It was like a part-time job, maybe not full-time job even. We practiced like 3 nights a week. We talk about this all the time. We practiced so much. We played so much every chance we could. So people are like might say, "Hey, man, you guys were lucky." I was like, "Man, I think we were ready. We were ready for the opportunity. We were like, we met so many bands that just didn't have that same like." And I'm not knocking out. I'm just saying we were like, this is what we want to do. Our jobs are secondary. This is our main thing. So I think all that energy when things happened, we were ready to go, and the label were like, they're already doing it. We don't have to ask someone to quit their job. We don't have to ask someone to, you know, step it up. We were already stepped up. And I tell you, I'll talk, man. I'll keep talking. How long do you want me to talk?
Yeah, this is great.
But I just wanted to add that because I felt like so many people think that they can just get a guitar and then, you know, we're gonna play a song, let's get signed. And you're like, that's not how it works. You gotta work. We worked so hard, but it didn't feel like work. It felt like we're hanging out with our friends and we're in Florida and we're playing, and you don't know who's going to come to the show, and like, you know.
But that's the way, especially back then, that's the way it was, right? You had to grind. You had to play shows. You had to put, you know, music on a CD and send it out. It wasn't like throw a song up on TikTok and hopefully it goes nuts.
Right.
And if somebody finds you that way, you had to actually hit the pavement and find people and meet new people and go to a show and talk to Kitty, and then you meet somebody that way. Like you can't do that. That's not the way it works today, but that was definitely the way it had to be back then because there was no other way to meet anybody.
Yeah. You want to add to that, Kevin? Because I know you have maybe a different perspective. Or
no,
something.
I mean, yeah, I think we got the whole history now.
Yeah.
It's something that I know you're passionate about, because we've just talked about this recently, about this path that we took and this journey. And one of our friends, Jason, was like, yeah, man, his band was practicing like once a week. And he was like, you guys were practicing so much that in the course of a month, you know, we've practiced 4 times and you guys have practiced 12. He was like, and we started to see how it was compounding, like the amount that we were doing was starting to compound. But yeah, we were really, really, really passionate and hungry and wanted it and talked about it all the time and dreamed about it, the whole thing. Like we were really, really wanted it bad.
Yeah, we had tons of stickers, tons of shirts. We were just doing everything we possibly could to get some recognition locally, and you know, we would put our stuff on the radio. We would go. They had a 95.1 The Fox. Rick Hendrick would, you know, invite local bands to come send their CD, and he would play it on Sunday nights. He played our entire record front to back, which is so cool to have. And so we had good support locally, and people were cheering us on. I mean, we wanted it so bad. We rented out. And looking back, I was like, "Oh my god, if somebody got hurt!" Like now that I'm adult,
we
I'm like,
didn't get insurance. We talked about.
Oh, we didn't have insurance. We didn't have any. We didn't have security. We just had literally like a room with like 400 kids in there and a speaker system. And we went. It was the most fun. But if somebody got hurt, we would have been done for. Now that I'm adult, I'm like, you know, oh, dude, that was stupid. But it was so much fun. It's called Local Fest, and we brought some bands from Florida, so we had to kind of put on our own shows. It was kind of yeah.
Were you guys gigging also in Mobile, Alabama? Because that was like the
not really.
Because that's like isn't that the music?
Did we play down there, Kevin? You might
I don't know
have
about
a better
Mobile, but we played right there at Gulf Shores. Remember Gulf Shores? Remember that?
Oh, I don't remember Gulf Shores.
Isn't that where that like fight broke out? I mean, with all those.
Oh, Pensacola. Was that Pensacola? Or was that Gulf Shores?
Fort Walton. That was Fort Walton Beach. But we played in
Fort
that
Walton,
area.
yeah,
right down there. It was like Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach, all that stuff.
I'll never forget that as long as I live, dude. That was. I don't remember where it was. The Mohawk guys.
We're reminiscing now. You guys are just watching this reminisce.
Yeah, you're just watching. Me and Kevin will get on the phone for like 2 hours.
No, this is great. This is great.
Hey, people are here for you guys. They're not here for us idiots. They're here for you guys.
Like literally, I can get on the phone with Kevin and we talk like for like 2 hours. one day we talked for like so long his battery died, and then I was like, dude, we talked for like 2 hours. We just talk and reminisce, and we kind of, because I don't know, we don't have the support group around us to talk the way we talk. Like if I told my other friends like all these, they'd be like, shut up, dude, we don't want to hear about it.
So Kevin, when Josh bangs on the practice space and he's like, hey, I want in, what do you say? What do you tell him?
Well, it's
we already have a bass player.
Here from his perspective, the warehouse that I told you we practiced at this warehouse space, and there was a lot of bands. Well, his band had moved into one of those rooms, and so our drummer Jason, he came up to me and said, "Hey, there's a new band over here." And usually, when a new band would move in, we'd walk over and say hello and just like introduce ourselves and say, "Hey, we're 41 down. We're over here. Welcome." So we went over to check them out, and they were a cover band, which was fine. But Josh was like, I remember we walked in and he was standing in a chair, and he was just like, and everybody else was just kind of sitting there doing things, but he was kind of all over the place.
Because I'm an idiot, yeah.
And me and Jason walked out. We were like, that bass player's, man, he's wild, dude. Like he stood out.
You got to get wild when you're playing, like freaking, I don't know, like what did we play? Like counting blue cars, you know what I mean? Like you got to go nuts when you're.
First Dishwalla reference on the podcast. Yeah. I appreciate that. Almost 300 episodes in.
On your bingo card, you won.
Song, I think. So yeah, so we were like, wow, that dude's, he's awesome. And about that time, I don't know how long we've been there, but about that time, our bass player moved to Mississippi. It was like the timing was really perfect. Our bass player moved. He comes over, knocks on the door, and you can tell Josh is pretty outgoing. He's like.
I'll talk forever.
I was like, dude, what you guys are doing is awesome. And so like it was a pretty natural fit from the beginning.
Well, I remember just being like, I want to do this. And I think reached out and I was like, can I just practice with y'all like your bass player, you don't have to show up. I'll just practice with y'all just to hang out. And they were like, well, I don't think that'd be cool. I was like, no problem. I said, but I do photography. I do this stuff. I'd love to do your album artwork.
He's like, hey guys, you let me do this. I'll help you with this guy.
I kind of weasel my way.
I remember. I don't know if you remember this.
You were sold from the jump, Kevin. You were like, this guy, we need this guy.
Yeah, I really was. But here's what's so interesting about it. This was one of like the first like insights I had about myself, like a self-awareness insights. I'm so much more like quiet and reserved than Josh is. And I was so excited that you were part of the band, but I guess I just didn't talk much. And Jason came to me one time. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Jason was like, Josh thinks that you don't like him or something. He was like, yeah, he said you don't really talk to him much or something. It's like, oh, and I was just a quiet guy. And I realized,
you still get that too from other people, but I do. But once, like you said, we'll talk for 2 hours. Once I know you, I don't shut up. Yeah,
really.
you open up big time. It's awesome. But yeah, I do remember that because I remember saying like, man, Kevin don't talk to me, man. He don't like me, and he's like, no, he's just quiet. I was like, no, he don't like me.
And I was so like, are you serious? He thinks I don't like him? I was completely oblivious to the fact that like,
I thought it was because I bummed like 40 cigarettes.
Doesn't talk to him.
Oh man, that's amazing.
But yeah, so Andy quit. So as soon as I realized the guy was leaving, the universe was like, we gotta get this guy to quit. So I did all this artwork for him. The album came out, the 41 Down album came out, and then he quit. No, he quit right before the CD was released. It hadn't even came back from the press yet. And Jason said, "Can you hand me a tape? Can you learn these songs?" I was like, "I'll learn these songs in 45 minutes, bro. Like I already know some of them." So I learned them really quick, and then Andy left, and that's how I joined. But the credit is literally like Kevin and Jason together are like this powerhouse kind of, and they've been in other bands together too. I came from a cover band that didn't play heavy stuff, to hearing that, I was like, this is what I wanted to do. So it was just a good fit. But they welcomed me in. They were so great.
Don't sell yourself too short. Josh came in with the Downfall riff. He wrote on an acoustic guitar.
Amazing.
Yeah. He wrote that at your dad's house.
Trailer. Yeah, he had a trailer in the woods, and I had an acoustic guitar, and I was like, hey, this is kind of a fun riff. We should play. And that's kind of how we write. It's like we just come up with little pieces, and Kevin puts them all together, and that's how we write stuff.
That's what hooked me originally. So I'm sitting in my dining room at my mom's house as a 17-year-old, and MTV2's on in the living room, which is like a couple of feet away, and I'm on the computer. I'm probably playing some stupid Tetris or something. Who knows? and I hear the riff, and it's like 11:30 at night. Everybody's in bed. I get up, I run to the living room, and I'm like, I need to know what this is. So you hooked me with that riff right there, man.
Sweet.
Yeah. Josh
Sweet.
is, I call Josh the king of riffs. He's got, you go through his I guess you have most of them in like a Dropbox account. Like remember you sent, you can just scroll. And I have like on my phone just scroll for days of like song ideas that nobody will ever hear, most of them. But like, yeah, and Josh is just like riff, next riff.
That's all I know how to do. So like
riff master.
I can do the riff part,
that
but
groove you got in you, man. It's that you got that thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but don't sell yourself short, man. Your riffs are insane. Like so, but the cool part about how we write is like I can't write a whole song. I've never written a whole song ever. Like I can't go riff or I can't do all that. Kevin takes it and he's like, we should do this, and I'll put the melody over it. And then so he kind of like puts it together and sees. I just like a word vomit and you're gonna edit. It's just like the riffs. It's like, okay, I'm gonna throw some riffs your way, and then he'll
Riff
take
vomit,
it.
Then I
Riff
edit.
Vomit, yeah, that's our next album, Riff Vomit.
My new band name.
A new band, that's a great bit, Riff Vomit. I would go listen to Riff Vomit.
I would too, yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of puts them together and does all that. So that's how we write.
What about influence wise? Like who do you guys pull from vocally, and I guess those riffs, are they coming from anyone else, or not directly, obviously, but
My biggest influences are Rage Against the Machine is one of my just that those riffs are undeniable. I grew up listening to, stuff like obviously Nirvana, but like Rage Against the Machine, Deftones is obviously one of the biggest influences ever for me, like one of my favorite bands ever. But as far as riffs go, it's like Bush. I love Bush so much, just all that stuff. But I listen to a lot of stuff. I love bluegrass. I love like Counting Crows is one of my favorite bands. Like the first record, Counting Crows.
Speaking my language. Yep. First record I ever
Tony
owned.
lit up. I've never seen Tony light up like that.
There's
first record I ever owned.
We got to play with them in Portugal, and I like ran up. I was like, I'm gonna look like an idiot, but I do not care. I was like, I'm a huge fan. Love what you're doing. And he's like, and Adam was like, hey man, yeah, we're on the same label, and Jordan talks about you guys. And I was like, I could die right now. It's all good. Yeah, August and Everything After and Recovering the Satellites are two of my. I listened to it yesterday.
Peak.
Dude, I'm so glad that someone else. Because every time I mention it, some people they're like, "What?" I'm like, dude.
No, trust me.
They smash, dude. They smash. They're amazing.
Both those records are phenomenal. I mean, they've got a bunch of great records in their catalog, but those two in particular, that's what a start to a career.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I love Counting Crows, but I get the riff thing and the bobbin thing from just bands that I like that have that, mainly like Rage and Deftones and Korn and all those bands that you guys like. I love all that stuff. But Helmet too was one of the biggest like first influences and like early 90s. A friend of mine actually was like, listen to Helmet. And I was like, what is this? And I love that so much, like simple, but yet powerful. And that's kind of a big influence. But
I was recently thinking about what we used to listen to in the van whenever we would all, because we all kind of, I'm a little bit older. Like I originally came up listening to like Guns N' Roses and Skid Row. Like when I was in high school or when I was in junior high, Guns N' Roses was huge. And then when I was in high school, like my junior year, it was like Skid Row. There was, and then Nirvana didn't come out until, I don't know, I might have been out of high school, senior or something. But then in the 90s, we came around and everything kind of changed. We all dropped tuned, for the first time. And do you remember we used to listen to, I was listening to this recently and thought like, I think really had a lot of influence on me back then was, you guys familiar with Sunny Day Real Estate?
Big time.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what this poster is right here.
Okay, great. We used to spin Diary like nonstop.
So good.
Yeah. And I really looking back, that was a huge influence on me. I think a lot of the melodic vocals and stuff, it might have been coming from that world, the 90s world. The first time I ever heard Deftones, it was Adrenaline. Chris, I used to work with this guy, Chris. He played it for me. He played Engine Number 9. It was like, and I remember being like, whoa, like it was just really raw and like, I was like, that is mean, dude. And that 90s is when we kind of started to like get into the riffs and stuff. So yeah, interesting stuff, man.
Kevin, we've wondered that. We've wondered about that question for like 23 years since we heard the record, because it's like, this dude doesn't sound like anyone. This is his own thing, and it draws you in. I mean, it made Tony do a head turn in the kitchen 23 years ago. It's like, what is this?
Room, but yeah,
dining room. All right, dining room. But we've wondered that because it's so unique, and I'm sure you've gotten that over the years, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things that people either love you or they hate you, kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Some people think it's really unique and like it. Some people don't like it. To me, it was just an accident. I never really planned on being the singer. Me and Jason, the drummer, we played in bands before this, and we had a singer, and he quit. And you know, where we're from, we had a good scene, but there wasn't like a ton of like great singers out there. And so I was like, I'll try. Let me try. I felt pretty confident I could play singing key, but I didn't know if I could be the singer of a band and like, you know, hold it up. And I remember trying, and then you know, some people would say to me after the show, like, "Man, your voice sounds kind of different. Like it's kind of unique." And I think at that point, I thought, you know, maybe I can do this, because I never really thought of myself as a singer. I'd always thought of myself as a guitar player and songwriter, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know how it happened. It's just how it comes out. Some people call me the whisper guy, although
I think we might have done that too.
Nate, in high school, Nate and I were like, "Oh my god, it's like whispering but screaming at the same time. I fucking love it. Like nobody else is doing it like that. Like let's go."
Yeah, I don't know how it happened. That's just how it comes out. So it feels harder than a whisper to me. I'll tell you that, because
yeah, I bet.
Yeah, 3 months into a tour and I can't get, you know, it's like, whew. But yeah.
I mean, if you listen to the old stuff, the 41 Down stuff that I first like introduced, you know, me to them, his voice is so freaking insanely cool and different. I was like, dude, this is it. It's like heavy, but he's like got this growl to him, and I don't know, man. It's like I know, like it's hard to say you like your own band, I guess, but it's like, man, he's got the coolest voice for sure for what we do, and it's like everyone's kind of doing the Creed thing, you know, that kind of thing. I just never really. I'm not knocking it, dude. It's amazing. I just not for me. And so when you hear someone do something different, you know, you're like, I want to be a part of something that, you know, is different and feels refreshing. And yeah, some people don't like what we do, and that's totally fine. I'd rather have people that, you know, if everyone liked this, I'd be like kind of worried. I'd be like, oh no, everyone likes this? That's kind of weird. But we have our pocket of people, and it's really cool. We like it. I love his voice, man. I love what you do, man. And you're so strong now, like, dude, like years later, if you go watch those live things that we're doing now, you're so strong, man. It's so good. It's awesome.
I think I had, like, when we first came back, I was like, man, can I sing this stuff still? It had been like a decade since I gone out and tried to sing this stuff. And I was like, I'm going to have to like pace myself. And, you know, back in the day, it was just, we play shows and it was just like from the first note, you're just, and I was like, I'm going to pace myself. But now I sang a lot over the years, not like we haven't put a bunch of stuff out, but I've never stopped playing. I've never stopped singing. I've never stopped writing. So it's kind of, I feel like maybe I think I might be a better singer now, but I don't know. Because now I'm getting 50, so we're starting to hit that decade where I'm like, how much time do I have before it starts to, oh no.
Nah, man, you sound great. There's that last one we did where you were like, you're not feeling so well, then you get on stage and sing the best show you've played. I was like, dude, you sound insane.
Adrenaline, dude. That's adrenaline. Straight adrenaline.
Yeah.
I gotta know, how was it when you signed to Geffen? You're officially in the big leagues. You're working with primo producers. You know, this is Montgomery, Alabama to probably New York City or something. Like, how was that? Was that crazy?
Nah, I felt like it was normal. No, it was insanely weird.
I'm curious, like how like you guys can hear our accent, can't you? Because I don't really hear it.
Yep.
Hey, man,
too, right?
You can't tell, man. Shit.
But you know what's so funny is like we talk about like I used to say fixing all the time. I'm fixing to do this. I'm fixing to do that. Don Gilmore and John Ewing Jr. Like Don did our first record, and the engineer John Ewing Jr. Boy, they called me out on that non-stop. I would say something, and Don would go, "What are you about to fix?" I would say, "Oh, nice." I said it, and I was like, "He's like, you're gonna go fix something?" And I'm like, "Oh, did I say it again?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I literally cut that from my vocabulary because they gave me such a hard time about it.
Until now, it's back now, Kevin.
It's back.
You can thank us.
It's back. Nah.
It wouldn't take long to get it back, I'm sure. But I remember I was like, I became very hyper aware of saying fixin'.
Like
So
I'm fixing to kick your ass. You keep saying that.
Yeah. So yeah, you go from you doing the thing in your hometown and playing that region to being kind of everywhere. You know, video games, MTV, TRL, whatever, all that stuff, right? Getting making big videos with leaf blowers, blowing your face off, like just
So that indie label we did. So it kind of went like this. We played the showcase for D-Side Records, and they immediately were like, yeah, let's do a deal. So we went down, did our first record down in Orlando, and we did that record, and we were set out to do like a tour. And during that tour day up the East Coast, that's when Kevin was talking about the showcase. We got to meet Rick Rubin. We played for him. I think we played for them a few times. Then we played for Atlantic. We played for a bunch of different. We
played for all of them.
All kind of, yeah. And it's so awkward because you're in a conference, not a conference room, but you're in this gray carpeted room with a stage and
like a rehearsal space, like an SIR type place.
Yeah, and you
stand
there
on the boardroom table, right?
Yeah, and you just jam out and
Josh jump right up there.
Yeah, and so like you're looking at like four people in suits or whatever, or just like tennis shoes, and you're like, what is happening? And they're like, this is awkward, it's weird, just play your heart out. And we do, and then I remember we played for Geffen, and the first time we played for Geffen, Kevin, didn't you say we're like halfway through like a couple songs?
Yeah, the normal like showcase we were playing, you play like 5 songs, and then afterwards, everyone just kind of chats and just like, yeah, so who were you influenced by and all these things. And then we're playing for Geffen. The president at the time, his name was Jordan Scher. We're playing for him, and we played 3 songs, and he's just like, I don't need to hear anymore. I want to sign you. And we were just like,
wow.
What? It was just like, it was such an unexpected thing. He just like, that's it. I've heard enough.
When he said I heard enough, I was like, oh God, we suck.
It's like this game you play, and then they reach out to your manager, and everyone's trying to feel each other out and all this stuff. And he just said it, and we were like, wow. And so I didn't know what to say, and we had like another song prepared to play, so I was like, that's awesome. I was like, can we play one more? And he said, sure. And I think we played "Running from Me" after that.
Okay, I sealed the deal.
Good choice. Well, I mean, at that point, you're like, do we not play one more and have him change his mind?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
So we got through with that, and he was like, guys, I want to take you back to Geffen Records, and I want to give you a tour and all the stuff, like right then and there.
It was a Friday afternoon because everybody was going home, and his lawyer was gone because he was like, I want to sign you, but everybody's going home. And we were like, oh, okay. So I remember that.
Like, what is happening? And he took us back to Geffen. He walked us through. He sat us in this office. And I mean, I don't even know how to describe it, man. I was like in a dream state. Yeah. I couldn't believe what was happening. We were like a week earlier, or a week and a half earlier, we were sitting in a van coming up the East Coast playing.
Eating Wendy's.
Yeah. Playing tiny little places that only like a handful of people, because people didn't know who we were. We were from Alabama. And all of a sudden we're sitting in Geffen Records, and he brought, do you remember this, Josh? He brought out Rob Zombie, like he brought out like their whole like a marketing plan.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like he's like, we'll do the same for you guys. And he was just, and I'm just like, what the hell is happening? I can't believe. And I remember walking outside and calling my dad and saying, yo, Dad, it's happening. Like it's happening, dude. Like it's really happening. I could not believe it. It felt like, like everything I dreamed about since I was a kid was coming true right there. And a week and a half earlier, we were just in a van playing shows, and had no idea. That week or that couple days was an absolute whirlwind for me.
Yeah. Do you remember when he said, you guys might want to think about it, go out on the balcony and talk about it? So we walked out to the balcony.
Like, I feel confident that we're going to be able to beat anyone's offer. And I'm like, he was trying so hard to sell us, and I'm just like, what is that's happening?
I was like, we'll do this free.
You know what they liked? Josh played on the chair.
Yeah,
he was playing on the chair. They're like, these are the balconies,
the banister. He's doing it all.
Yeah. He's like, no, he's a liability. We can't. So I remember walking out onto the little balcony, and I remember we were quiet for like a few seconds, and I remember Jason, and this could be, I don't even know if this happened. I remember Jason was like, yeah, it sounds pretty good, or something like that, and I was like, yeah, like this is what we got to do. But we're so
our manager
shocked.
was like, wait. Our manager was like, we got more showcases to play, and he was like, because we had showcases back in New York again, Remember, we had to fly back to New York.
Oh yeah. That's when we played Rick Rubin. I remember meeting him, and he was like, "Who are your influences?" And we were like, Glassjaw, Deftones, and he's like, oh, "I got to look those bands up." I was like, "Okay." That's all I remember about him is he didn't know who Glassjaw was.
Was he barefoot when
he was probably barefoot. Yeah.
I don't remember. It was so quick. I was like, "Oh, Beastie Boys or something." I don't know.
Yeah.
That's so stupid. I don't know.
We've been making fun of Rick Rubin for 5.5 years on this podcast. So shout out Rick Rubin. It's always a joke. It's tongue in cheek, but
yeah.
Was he in the room or did he have a speaker? Was he?
Yeah, we've heard that.
Was he on speaker?
Yeah. No, yeah, that's how it happened. We got signed, and I remember the first time we met Don Gilmore. He walks in the room, and he's with a crew. There's like 5 or 6, and I remember Eric Hunter, our A&R guy, was like, "Welcome to the family," and I was like, "Oh my God, we're in LA. We just got signed." He's introducing us to Don Gilmore, and Don is in like stonewashed jeans and white like shoes. I was like, "That's Don Gilmore." I thought this guy was going to come in and have like smoke trail and like doves flying. "I'm Don Gilmore," and he was just like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And ended up being the coolest dude ever. Like so nice and so easy to work with. So it didn't feel like that because we immediately like, I like to break down. Well, I don't like to have this facade of like I'm somewhere I'm not supposed to be. So immediately I'm like, "What's up? Like, what do you do? How are you?" I want to get comfortable. And he made it so awesome, and I didn't feel like we were in a big studio, although we were. It just felt like we were hanging out with some friends, and I didn't feel this pressure of like, you got to perform, man, or you're out of here. It's just like, yeah, man, just tune up your bass and let's start going. And if you mess up, no big deal. He just made it so comfortable, and he didn't have this ego about him. He was he was confident, but he was very easy to work with. So,
you know what I have a memory of though, and I still talk to Don Gilmore. We'll text like once a year or like about once a year or so. But at the showcase, so we played a showcase for Geffen. After we did the Geffen deal, we came back to the same exact rehearsal space to play for Don. And after that, like Don was just talking to us and everything, super, like you said, kind of a soft-spoken guy. And he looked at me and he said, "I'm going to be a thorn in your side." And I was like, it's like, what does that mean? Like, what are we getting into? You know what I mean? And
I'm fixing to be a thorn in your side.
I'm fixing to be a thorn in your side. And it was because I did not realize that. You talk about kind of a bunch of Alabama kids that didn't really know what they were getting into. We had no idea. They set up pre-production, and we were like, "Oh, pre-production. He just wants to get familiar with our songs." We had no clue.
Oh yeah,
going there to start. Our songs were like, we've been doing that for years because our songs were like 5 minutes long. Some of them are 5 minutes long. And Geffen did not sign us to say, "Go do whatever you want, make the album you like." They wanted us on the radio. And we didn't know that like radio songs need to be around 3.5, 4 minutes or something. And Don was tasked with cutting the fat off of these songs. And that was a painful experience for me.
Kevin had a different experience than I did. He's a singer. I just play bass. I'm like, all right, I'm out.
In the studio, once we were working, like he was great. But like that pre-production and that whole he really pushed me with lyrics. Really, really, really pushed me. He's like, "Can you print out all your lyrics?" And I was like, "Sure." And I printed them all out. And I thought he just wanted to be able to kind of go through them while I'm singing them. And he's like, "Let's sit down and talk." And I was like looking at him, and he's reading the first line. And he goes, "What is it? What exactly does this mean?" And I'm like, "Well, it's just kind of, I'm kind of rusty." He was like, "I don't get this at all." And I was like, "Oh crap!
Wow.
Oh shit!"
We're about.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So I did a lot of rewriting. And that was painful because I pushed back, and I didn't want him messing with it. And I didn't. And that's when I started to feel like, oh, this is happening. Like the labels coming in, changing who we are. And we had to have a little were you part of the sit down with Dom whenever, maybe it was just me because I was pushing back so hard on that. And he was like, "Yo,
I don't think I was there for that."
Yeah. He was like, "Dude," he was like, "I know your dreams just came true, man. I know and all this kind of stuff." He was like, "But dude," he was like, "there's a dude driving to work on Monday morning that hates his life. He does not care that you just got signed. He does not care about you at all. You better give his attention real fast, or else he's going to move on to the next song and everyone's going to about you." And I was like, whoa, and he kind of that was the only moment that he sat down and he's like, "I know you can name off 10 bands that have done it without that, but chances are you're not one of them. And they did not sign you to let you come in here and be the," it's like, they are putting a lot of money into this. They want the best shot. And so I had to process that for a while. I was like, whoa, dude. But
Yeah, he had the dad talk with you. He did not have with us, I
but
don't
he
think.
did sit down and he's like, man, I'm not trying to change who you are, dude. I just want to get the best out of you. Let's make a killer record. I'm not trying to major label you to death. You know, he's like, we're going to make a killer record. Just like pour your heart and soul into this thing, man. Just like work hard for it. We got 3 months in here. Let's just kill it. And so that's what we did. I sat there and wrote and rewrote. But ironically, Downfall probably changed the least. The lyrics on that, I mean, like maybe a little bit, but that song probably changed the least, you know?
What about Danny Lohner's influence on this? So he was part of the production as well, right?
He did the production for, we had like an alternate version of Hover that was like a piano version, and he did that. And Danny was awesome. Like he was our A&R guy. Our A&R guy was a guy named Eric Hunter, and him and Danny were roommates and friends. So Danny came up there and we got to meet him because he was roommates and good friends with our A&R guy. And so we wanted to do like a piano version of Hover. And so he did that, and it was awesome. Danny was just a really, really cool guy, really awesome guy to have around.
I was going to say like an equalizer to like what you were saying earlier, the major label like Pressure, whatever. He's from, well, formerly of Nine Inch Nails, right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
I hung out with him when he was touring with Bailey Howardale from Perfect Circle a few tours back. Like cool dude, but also like from a band, so kind of have that like internal perspective, like, hey, like let's actually like do this as, you know, I'm an equivalent to you in terms of production, what you actually want to put out, rather than, you know, the scissors that you're talking about. So I was curious about that.
Yeah, Danny was awesome. Yeah, he took me to Billy Howardale's house one time, and I mean, they probably thought I was the weirdest guy in the world because I was just like the whole time, just kind of like the Alabama kid that cannot believe I'm standing here doing this. But he was a cool guy. He was in the Downfall video, like,
Oh wow, nice.
with the tube blowing his
Yeah.
cheek. He was one of the guys, like the coffee's like shaking, and he's like, yeah.
So Kevin, were you like, no, we're not putting the leaf blower on my face. Everybody else can have it.
No, here's the thing. I don't know what Marco said about this. Like the concept behind the video was that, like, and I don't know that we fully pulled this off because the concept was supposed to be that, like, I'm walking and I'm unaffected by the wind, and everywhere that I go, there's like wind blowing people around me. So I'm walking down the street, and as I pass by, wind's blowing people, but I'm not getting blown. Even on there's a part where I'm walking past all this like ivy or whatever growing on the side of and they shot me walking on a green screen there so that they could blow that and then let me walk in front of it, and I'm not affected by the wind. But there's a few times I'm walking that you can see I'm catching some wind
Catching
there.
some
But,
strays.
yeah, but man, it was crazy. Do you remember sitting there watching them like put that tube up to people's mouths
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
it was violent in the
They had
moment.
this huge fan that would blow like most of it, but they had this like compressor with this little tube that they would get right outside of frame, and it would just blow. So, and their mouth was all shaking and face was all like, so that's how we got that effect. Yeah, it was a long day.
Oh, I
It was
bet. Yeah.
It was a 1 day shoot. It was a long day. Yeah. The first part was all of the blowing and walking and stuff. But then the second part, man, we got in that warehouse and they're like, okay, give us 100%
Every time.
in a row. By the end of that night, I don't even know if James was like having trouble walking. He would, you know, we went.
Marcos carried him out, put him on his shoulder, and
Oh,
carried him out
What?
because he hurt his arm.
He
There's
didn't
a
tell us
video-
that.
There's a video of it somewhere, or somebody filmed it. I have it in my mind. I remember Marcos picked him up and
Oh,
walked
Marcus
him,
did?
yeah, and walked him out. And I was like, oh, dude, that's crazy.
He was
But
crazy, wasn't he?
yeah, he like cramped up or something,
Yeah.
or something with his knees or hips. We played that song so much, dude. I was so sick of Downfall. I was like, if I never hear this again, it'd be too soon. I was like, this is just so much the same. And then they had to shift the whole thing to the back of the room, and we play it 1,000 more times. And I mean, you don't even know. You're just going. You don't try to even like you're playing. You just do it. But it's fun. It's for the kids. So.
It was for us. It got
Yeah.
us. It
It's
got
for
us,
you guys.
man. It
Yeah.
got sunk its hooks into us, and we were had to go buy the record and spin that thing a million times. And still, I listen to that pretty regularly to this day. I think all three of us do pretty regularly to this day. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Especially
so cool.
stuff from the era. Like this has outkicked 90% of what I listened to in that moment.
I would agree. Yeah. And to see that you were pressing it on Smart Punk, I was like, oh, I'm buying that right now. And I have one of the sitting right there, the variant that's sold out, the red and the black splatter. That one's already sold out, which is wild. And it was imagine never being able to get this on wax and have it in my hands it's in my hands in 4 days. It was pretty cool.
Kevin, this is kind of wild to me, man. Like there's this big gap where we didn't do anything, and now it's like people are talking about it again. It's just so unreal. I'm so thankful that you guys even listen to it again. I mean, I never thought this would. Did you, Kevin? I never thought people.
I didn't think we'd ever play again, and it's not because it's just been so long, and we all kind of like we live fairly close, but we live in different cities, and so like getting together and practicing is much harder in writing. But like I didn't think it would ever happen again. But ironically enough, like we stayed really good friends throughout the years.
Oh yeah, you were my neighbor. We were neighbors for how long did you live? We were
I was
literally
like 9 years.
Yeah, like 3 doors down from each other.
And we, what got us back together was they called and said, I got an email, I think, from somebody saying Blue Ridge Festival was inquiring about it. And someone reached out and said, would you guys be willing to play this? And I called you guys and said, do we want to do this again? Like, because I knew what it was going to take. We hadn't played, we hadn't rehearsed, I hadn't sang like that in like 10 years or so. I was like, this is going to be, do we want to do this? Do we want to get back into this again? It sounded like fun. And really, the greatest part about this for me has been getting into a band room again and playing has just been the greatest thing in the world.
So fun.
I mean, it's been so fun to get back in a band room and just jam again.
And we're in the same band room we were in when we got signed. Like,
oh, wow.
That's fun.
I've been in that same place. We've been in there, dude, 30 years, something like that. It's like so long, dude. We moved to another place, but we originally started there and then went to another place and then came back. And we've been in the same one, golly, dude, forever. Jason inquired about
songs written in that room.
Yeah, lots of stuff happened in that room. And that was the same band room that I was in that cover band that Jason saw me in. Yeah. So that's what's so interesting. I was in there
we moved
17.
into that room. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 47. I was in there at 17. So that's crazy. The same place.
Yeah. I first got a band room up there at 18 years old was the first time I got a band room up there with my high school band. The band I played in high school with, and I'm 51.
That's crazy.
Decades of that place.
And there's no bathroom, so you have to pee outside.
You have to go behind the building and pee and just hope nobody walks around. And I think the phone died.
We love doing this because we get obviously all those like legacy questions that we've had for years, like influences, what's the story, but like a lot of this stuff I'm gonna go back, I think, with different ears, and I hope anyone that listens to this does that. Like my favorite song from you guys is Running From Me. And the last 30 seconds when Kevin goes wild and then you get the breakdown, I've always wondered, like, who are the influences? I hear a little Helmet in that guitar, right? At the end there. I don't know if that's where you're pulling from, but to get like the ramp up for you guys, it's why we do this. Like I'm going to go listen to it with different ears now. And I'll probably hear Jeremy from Sunny Day in your vocals,
Yeah.
Dude, Helmet was a big one for me, man. I mean, I was like young, didn't even know how to play guitar yet. And my buddy, Robert Shemp, who owns a studio in town, was like, check this band out. And I was like, okay. And then I didn't realize how big of an influence that would have on me forever. It's the simple riffs that are so powerful. And his vocal is just like angry, but not. And then, I don't know, man, Helmet is one of those bands that's like, especially their first 2 records, it's just the riffs. And I think that's where I get my biggest. It's like, if you can't do this to Helmet, you have no soul. You don't know what that's about.
Something wrong with you, man.
Yeah. It's like, if just the simple 2-note, it's like, that's anyway. I can talk about Helmet and those kind of things all day.
We'll have you back for a Helmet deep dive.
Meantime retro episode or something.
Dude, totally. So yeah, we love them, and that would be interesting to go listen back and listen to some of the influences. And I still hear stuff in there. I'm like, oh yeah, man, I kind of picked that up from maybe Bush, or that's like maybe a used thing, or maybe a Glassjaw thing, like all those bands from that era. But yeah, I love talking about it because it feels like we've kind of came back from the dead a little bit. Like, oh, this is over. We didn't really hang out so much, and there was just like a dead period. And then when Blue Ridge came, getting in a band room and hanging out and writing new music has just been so freaking fun with our friends. It's just as these like brothers who toured together and had all these good times together.
I mean, Jason just crossed 30 years. We started playing together in '94, I guess.
Wow.
31 years, and
that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen anymore, right? Like a lot of times you hear, one or two records have a little success, and then we don't like each other, we're never talking to each other again. And for you guys to be able to pick it back up, all these years later, and have people be into it and play festivals and be happy you're still doing it, that's pretty cool.
It is amazing.
Same lineup, right? Or OG lineup?
Insane. Yep.
Yeah, one of our photo shoots, we kind of, I don't know if we did on purpose, or the photographer did on purpose, that Alan did a photo shoot with us, and we're in the exact same order as we were one of our early photo shoots. So you could just see like how we aged.
And put them next to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it is on our thing. It's like top and bottom, but.
So the resurgence has happened. There's a pressing of the Lonely Position of Neutral. You can go out and get that. What else is going on with you guys right now? You got tours, you got new music. Where are we at?
Yeah, we've been writing. The goal for us is new music. It's been an amazing process, like what we were saying, like getting back in the band room again and just like hanging out and writing. It feels like the old days because it's just like we're just sitting there just writing music. The problem has been that since our schedules are so much tighter than they used to be, like we don't get to get in there as much as we want to. So like, once a week, and then if somebody's got something going on, that turns into, we can only get together 2 times this month or 3 times this month. So it's been a slower process, but it has been a fun process because we've got like, I don't know, 5 songs maybe. And so we've been having this, here's the crazy thing too. We've been having this conversation of like, how do we release music now? Like back in the day, there wasn't, Spotify and all this stuff. You just put an album out. Like, do you do singles? Do you do it on an EP? But we grew up in this world of like albums. And so we really want to release an album. So we're kind of going down that rabbit hole now. How do you release? How many do we release? But the writing process has been so much fun for us.
And it's so different now because I'm not an engineer by any means whatsoever, but I do have a universal audio recording little setup that has like 4 inputs. So I can record the drums, and then, Kevin can overlay the guitars and stuff. I can take it home and do bass, so we can actually hear for the first time in our entire life a really pretty decent demo of like what it could sound like. Whereas before we record on tape or something. I forgot what we did, a little tape machine, and try to, do that. But now it's like we can actually hear what it maybe would sound like in a studio. Obviously way worse, but like you actually could hear it and piece it together. And I can now like write bass parts after the vocals. And so I'm not stepping on his vocals, and Jason could do drum parts that aren't interfering, whatever it is. It's such a different experience now because we can actually demo, in our band room at a very, at no cost. And that's been really fun to layer stuff. And we didn't have that before, and now we get to do that. So that's exciting to me, is that part of it too.
That's the goal for us, is to put something out, hopefully early next year. Would you say, Josh?
I hope so.
Definitely next year, but like hopefully early.
Nice.
Yeah, I hope so.
It's coming right up. It's almost 2026.
I know, we're talking in early November, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have labels and anything to like, we don't have to answer to anybody. So we could do whatever, obviously with the confines of who we, like with the safety net of like who we are as the band. We're not trying to be something we're not. We're just trying to do what we always done. And, the songs do sound a little different than Lonely Position, but that's just how it is. But we write the same way, and we're not trying to do anything outside of what we do. So there will be no Counting Crows-esque songs, but you know what I mean? But it's heavy. There's some heavy stuff. There's some, I don't know. It's a really, I'm really excited about what we have so far, and got to hear some of the vocal stuff, and it's just, I'm really excited about it. So it's not just like, well, let's just put something out. We've been working really diligently and trying to, there's a lot of cool stuff. I'm really excited.
I think you guys would crush around here if you want to do a cover, just.
I got to get the guys into Counting Crows first. So that's step one.
Dude, his lyrics to me are amazing. Like I really like can go down the rabbit hole in people's lyrics now. Man, he's great. He's a great songwriter, great lyricist. Now, back in the day, I wasn't, you turned me on to him, Josh, more than anything. But like, wow, the lyrics are like, as I've gotten older, like that, I can attach more to the lyrics now. I guess Don Gilmore got me on that path, like really connecting. He said something to me. He was like, if you're a rock band, like a heavy band, he's like, if you have great riffs and melodies and stuff, he's like, you're probably gonna do well. He's like, but if you also have great lyrics and you connect with someone and they see that themselves in your story somehow, he's like, that you're gonna make a connection that will last forever.
Absolutely.
So and before that, we were just kind of a band that was just, and he really encouraged me to kind of go down the rabbit hole of what I was going through back then, because I'd just come off a divorce. And so I was like in this weird place. And he was like, man, you need to just break yourself open and let that come out. And I'm a huge believer that, music heals, but I also believe that music heals the writer as much, if not more, than the listener. And so it's a therapeutic thing. But yeah, so now I really go down the rabbit hole and listen to what people are saying and try to connect with it. And Counting Crows, man, that dude, man, he's a great lyricist.
I remember popping the live. They put like a live album out. It was like a 2 CD live album. I remember putting in some stuff on the, like when we're touring in the van, you can tell like I'm the only one that wants to hear it, but I'm like, guys, just listen. I swear to God, he's amazing. Like, and they're like, okay, Josh, like whatever, it's Mr. Jones. I'm like, no, it's not just Mr. Jones. I swear to God, it's more than. So, but yeah, Jason introduced me to Sunny Day. So I was trying to return the favor, but I don't think I fell on deaf ears. But Sunny Day, when he introduced me to Sunny Day, I was like, oh, I didn't know this kind of music existed. Like I was like 18. I was like, I didn't even know this was a band. And they are insane. Mm-hmm. And their bass player is so freaking awesome. It's like, oh, I need to step up. This dude's incredible.
Yeah. No, we agree with the sentiment of music healing. I mean, that's the main reason we started this is we've always done it. We'd always had a group text going talking about music or whatever, and to be able to use it to kind of feel better about your day, whether like this is going to be the best part of my day, and it's the stuff that we love. So talking about music, listening to music, and hearing from you guys that it also helps on that side makes complete sense to me.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. I need to know what new bands, not new, could be old bands that you guys are into right now. Because I got one I want to share. They're called Microwave. They're from Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I've listened to Microwave. They're cool.
Yeah, they're freaking awesome. Like one of my new favorite bands, and their recordings are amazing. And there's a band called Horrors from Atlanta that are amazing too. Really Helmet-esque, very like a dirty, grungy Helmet. They're freaking awesome. They're called Horrors. Imagine that band talk.
Oh man,
they're called Horrors.
Yeah.
And the merch.
Whew. Oh yeah. But who do you guys like right now?
So a lot of it's the stuff that we've talked to this year. I know earlier this year we talked to Eric from Heart Attack Man. That record's really good. Came out this year. The Charmer guys. That's a record that we all three of us really dig. That we talked to them earlier this year. My favorite group that we've found, and I've said this on a couple episodes now, is NVM. Nevermind, out of Utah. Everything they do hits for me. They've got some heavy, they've got some melody, they've got some emo, they've got some hardcore. It's got everything, which is right up my alley. So those are a couple for me.
Okay.
Definitely those. It's funny. Someone asked, I think it was Marcos. He asked, Marcos, yeah. And I was like, what do I even listen to? I listen to so much. Mostly it's kid shit in the car.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the kid stuff. Yes, let's keep going. Gabby's Dollhouse. Yeah. I've been on a big Taking Back Sunday kick recently because my kids, they love Taking Back Sunday.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's a lot of repeated lyrics. They love that. And that was from a similar time, actually, that, this early 2000s time period.
Isn't the singer from Alabama, Josh? Isn't he?
North Carolina. North Carolina.
No, his Alan's cousin is in the band, or Alan knew somebody in the band. Somebody was from his cousin was from Alabama and knew the singer or somebody.
I maybe I misheard that. I thought somebody said he was from Birmingham. I don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah, I think he's from North Carolina.
Okay.
They're not new, but I've been listening to them a lot. There's a band on Side One Dummy Records called Kerosene Heights. That's great.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm typing these down as you say it because I want to check them out. Kerosene Heights. That's a cool name.
That record's really good. That came out a couple months back, and we talked to Chance. Yeah, it's been a lot of what we've been into. We've asked people, and yeah.
What about you, Nate? Who you rocking?
I think in prep for the pod, like, we get these people that actually get in touch with us directly about doing press for them or interviews and whatnot. So, I'll check out those records. That's kind of how new music is coming to the surface for me. Otherwise, like, it's checking out gigs and researching the openers and the support acts and then kind of discovering music that way.
That's cool.
Spotify obviously has its recommendations, but for the most part, I still am one of those guys that just keeps revisiting the stuff that I know, like this record that we're talking about today, and just deep diving on it.
And the new Deftones record, right? I mean, we've been spinning the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like Legacy X, like the Deftones, like I'll always check out like their newest drop and dissect it and put it back together and just kind of figure out everything that's going on with that band and that record. But any band that has a legacy that is still holding strong, not to downplay any band that isn't that strong musically today. There's some that have kind of just, I don't know, changed for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for the most part, and checking out new music opposed to just the classics. This being one of them.
There's a band called The Perfect Circle that we've been into lately.
Yeah, right. I don't know if you've heard of them.
We did an episode on Murder Noms recently, and it hasn't left my CD player. It hasn't left my phone. It hasn't left my Spotify.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I don't like going to concerts. I really actually hate. If you were like, hey man, we're gonna go see like whatever, I would be like, I'm not going. I don't like going to concerts. I don't like being around that many people, but I do like playing concerts. It's a lot more fun. But I don't like going to concerts. And
is it anxiety? That many people?
I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. I just don't like the experience of like parking, getting out. Like, let's go. All right, let's find a place. Okay, it's kind of loud. I need because I have like my ears jacked up, and like the whole thing. So when we played that show the other month or whatever, 2 months ago, Jimmy Eat World's playing another stage. I was like, I'll go. I gotta go see that. So, about 2 songs in, I'm like, all right, they're really good live. Okay, cool, and that's it. I'm like, I'm not a concert goer. I've never been like a concert, like go see the shows. It sucks, but that's not who I am as a person.
Now, when you were younger, we went, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Back then.
Yeah, I went to a few. I mean, I saw Deftones 3 times, but it had to be worth it, And I was in a different stage of like exploring music, and now I'm just like, I want to learn some new music, but they're kind of hard to like come by. Like I watched some interview with the drummer for, I forgot, Aaron. He did I'm so bad with names. The drummer that was in yeah. And he talked about that microwave band. He's like, oh, I want to, and that's how I found him. It's just that interview. And that band I've been playing a lot lately. Their production is really good, but the older stuff, I don't know. I dove into the new stuff, but
I got one for you. The band Citizen.
All right.
Love Citizen.
Check out the band Citizen, their album Youth.
All right.
Okay.
That's one that it's about 10, 12 years old. It hasn't left on my CD player.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to look back at all the things that I listened to, and it's been just such a small like thing that I'm like, I need to like branch out. But every time I do, I'm like, yeah, but when I go back to listen to the stuff I usually listen to, it's so familiar. I don't know if it's because I'm old. I'm like, how you can't teach like an old dog new tricks. I feel like that with music. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But some of these have creeped in, and I'm like, oh, these are awesome. I'm just so picky, man. I don't know what it is. It takes a lot.
That's okay. But I mean, you've been around it for a while too, right? So it's got to blow your socks off if it's going to be something you want to keep coming back to.
Yeah, true.
Well, Kevin, Josh, we really appreciate you guys coming on with us today, and we're stoked for new music maybe in 2026 from TRUSTcompany.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
We're excited too.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you for listening to Podioslave. We are at Podioslave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Podioslave Podcast. YouTube, Podioslave Podcast there. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.